Hi everybody, thank you for joining me on this noontime broadcast. Do you know, we've been looking at the resurrection appearances of, the post-resurrection appearances of Jesus. And the story I want to think about today is the one from John chapter 21, verses 1 to 14, when the disciples, well, the tide's coming in quick, when the disciples decided to go fishing. Peter said, "I'm going fishing." And off he went. And the other disciples, there were 7 of them, said, we're going to come too. So off they went. They went fishing. And they fished all night out on the Sea of Galilee. They fished all night, and remember what they caught? They didn't catch anything. But as dawn started, there was a stranger on the beach. And he called to them, "Hey friends, hey guys, haven't you caught anything?" And John knew that it was Jesus. And John said to Peter, "It's the Lord." Wow, it's the Lord. And Peter got his garments back on again, and he jumped in the sea to start coming towards Jesus. But I love that. Haven't you caught anything? I don't know if you think Jesus had a great sense of humor. When I read those words, he didn't say, "Have you caught anything?" He's not asking a question. He's not saying, "Tell me what you've caught." He said, almost a bit of mischief, "Hey guys, haven't you caught anything?" And of course the answer was no. The shame of it. These people who were experienced fishermen hadn't caught anything, and they'd fished all night long. But Peter jumped out of the boat about 100 yards offshore, and he made it as quickly as he could to come to see Jesus. The others followed behind, bringing, I forgot to say, because he had said, "Haven't you caught anything? Take your net and throw it on the right side of the boat." And they threw it on the right side of the boat. And it was then, when they caught all those fish, that John realized this was Jesus. This is the Lord. So they brought all this fish in, and they counted the 153 fish, 153 large fish. That was quite a lot of fish for that time. But they knew it was Jesus. And you know, they eventually got there, and Peter pulled the fish ashore, and Jesus had already lit a fire, and he had fish cooking, and he said, "Bring some of your fish." And it was like the disciples were reluctant. You know, you think if you saw Jesus, and they'd met him before, they'd seen him before this, and he had given them so many proofs that he was who he said he was, that he was Jesus, and that he was alive. He'd given them loads and loads of proofs. But there was a reluctance to come close. And Jesus had to say, "Come and have breakfast." He had to encourage them to come. And you know, I was thinking about that. But that's quite a normal reaction, isn't it? A normal reaction to be reluctant, because if there was someone that you loved, I was thinking about this earlier, if it was someone you loved and they had died and they had been buried and then suddenly they stand in a room with you, the first thing you would do maybe would not be to run towards them. It would be, what is happening here? I mean, resurrection is not the norm. And here he was, alive. And it says in the text that they knew it was the Lord, and they wouldn't dare to ask him, who are you? And you think, why would you even need to ask that question anyway? They knew it was him, so why would you ask the question, who are you? But they knew it was him. But what they were really wanting to say is it really you? Is it really you? I've never seen this happen before. And I was thinking about my mum and dad, who died many years ago, before our children were born, and our children are now in their 20s. And I would love them to see our children. I would love them to be here today. But if I got home today and they were standing in the kitchen, I would be reluctant to go close, because this is not the norm. Can you take that in? We're so used to knowing the story of Jesus dying and being raised to life. We said in our creeds, on the third day he rose again from the dead. We know these things, but can you take that in? These disciples were the first eyewitnesses, and this was highly unusual. But here was Jesus, who had been dead, now lives forevermore. Can you take that in? Take a moment just to meditate on that. Jesus was dead, and now he's alive. And the great thing is, because he died and lives, we can live even though we die, as he said we would, when we put our faith in him. Wow, it's amazing. Come and have breakfast. The other great point about that is, Jesus is still the servant. Just as he had been the servant before his death and resurrection, here he was serving his disciples, caring for their needs, the really important needs of, come and have something to eat. Isn't that beautiful? Do you know, when we get to heaven, when there is the marriage feast of the Lamb, that's what's going to happen. He's going to say, come to the celebration, come to the feast, come and celebrate, because this is a wonderful day. We're here together. Wow, and that will be forevermore. Won't that just be absolutely amazing? And we're thinking, Dawn and I, just before we come out, you know, the idea of a bride and groom at a wedding feast. And maybe after the meal or before the meal, they mingle with people. They go and see their friends and their relatives, the people that have been invited. People who see them at a distance and go, wow, isn't she beautiful? Gosh, isn't he handsome? And they work their way, they work the room, they come to your table, and for those moments, you have them to yourself. Isn't that amazing? That's what it'll be like with the Lord. He'll not be a distant thought, a distant person. He will be coming round, working heaven and saying, you didn't think this day would happen, did you? Yeah, it's really true. I'm really alive, and so are you. And you are really here, for you have been invited. Isn't that amazing? Come and have breakfast. Wow. Anyway, you can think about that. Chapter 21 of John, verses 1 to 14. An amazing passage. Read that story and imagine you were one of those 7 disciples, how you would have felt, what would have been running through your mind, but the elation of the fact that Jesus has defeated death and he loves you. Anyway, guys, I think I'll get ready and go for a swim. Hey! And until I see you again, be blessed.